Over the past couple of weeks, I have been fortunate enough to have been given early access to Miraibo Go, and I have been playing quite a lot of it. So what do I think about it? In a similar way that Palworld did for me earlier this year, this game really gave me the feels of what a true Pokemon survival game should really feel like. From the sheer variety of creatures that you can capture, to the boss battles and expansive open world gameplay, Miraibo Go has something for everyone. Over the course of this video, while you watch my journey throughout Miraibo Go, I'm going to go through what I thought of it, with some more detail, and some helpful tips for beginners, and even how I think the game could improve going forwards. I did just want to give a quick thank you to the folks at Miraibo Go for allowing me to have early access to the game, and for sponsoring this video and supporting the channel. Now, let's talk a little bit about the elephant in the room here. Yes, there are certainly a lot of similarities with Palworld, which released in January of this year. When Palworld released, I played a lot of it and enjoyed it immensely, and upon loading into Miraibo Go for the first time, I had a similar experience. Of course, it cannot be understated how incredible it is to be able to play Miraibo Go on the phone, and while it visually may not quite look up to the standard that Palworld does, that is to be expected when you are talking about an open world mobile game here. Of course, you can also play it on your PC, which is where I captured a lot of my footage here, but the ability to take your pocket monsters on the go wherever you go is a massive bonus and huge selling points for Miraibo Go, and it truly really is the world's first open world, true, PAL-like monster catching, survival construction mobile game. That is a lot of words in one sentence there. I'm going to get you started by talking about some of the most important things to know if you are just getting started out on Miraibo Go. Firstly, I would seriously recommend using the Journeys section to help you get started. It has so much information about pretty much anything you could wish to know, and with a game like Miraibo Go, you are certainly going to have a lot of questions early on, especially if you didn't play Palworld earlier this year. I know for a fact I used it for a lot of things, such as learning how to enhance my player stats, as I couldn't find out where to put my leveling up points after gaining my first few levels. Thankfully, the journal pointed me in the right direction, and it is a super useful not only for the start of the game, but also a bit of the mid to late game content also. Secondly, while this may be a little bit of a strange one, I would certainly recommend checking your graphic settings. The difference between Miraibo Go on low and high settings is a huge one, and as long as your device can handle it, I would certainly recommend cranking those settings up as high as you can get them. When you do get started in Miraibo Go, you will also have a choice of where you want to spawn. Personally, I went for the Windswept Hills, as I felt it had the best balance of available Miraibo to catch and also resources. I think in that early game grind, while you are still learning the game mechanics, resources are much more useful than a host of Miraibo to catch, especially with a lot of them being unobtainable anyway, until you are a little bit higher level with better gear. Make sure you also make use of the teleport statues. When you interact with these, you will freely be able to fast travel to and from these at any statue or directly from your base using the mirror terminal. You also can respawn at these terminals, which is super useful if you do something daft like I did and die to fall damage nearby. Make sure to interact with these terminals whenever you see them. You never know when it could save your life in the future. Utilising those daily login perks is also going to be really useful in that early game grind. Every day you log in, you will get free bonuses such as mirror balls, which are certainly going to come in handy as you look to complete that good old mirror deck, as I refer to it. Referring your friends to play Miraibo Go and download it is also a good way to get some free loot. So after downloading the game using my link in the description, make sure to go and refer it to your friends and get that early game loot. With over 100 total mirrors to capture on Miraibo Go, you will have quite the task catching them all. These pets range from cute ones such as Baragon here, to less cute but still useful ones such as Dwack. In a similar way to Palworld, the pets you capture can be used to help out with basic tasks such as crafting, farming, or battling in open world against other monsters. So whether you see these monsters as partners or slaves is completely up to you. But during my time on the game, I certainly found that looking after these pals as if they were your own is the best way to go about it. As if you don't, their sanity is going to drop to crazy low levels, and they likely will stop working for you anymore. Catching them all has always been one of my favourite things to do in any monster catching or taming game, and this was no exception here. I appreciated a lot of the mirror designs here, and during my time on the game I was enjoying catching new mirrors, despite getting nowhere near to filling out the mirror decks. There is truly a lot of content in here to appreciate, so this isn't a game that you can expect to run through in 10 to 20 hours. The King Miraibos that can be caught via the dungeons are also a highlight. These can be found dotted around the map, and upon entering what is effectively a mini boss fight, you will face various mirrors who have all been buffed up and often with some really good moves on them. Catching and defeating these are all tied in with the progression of the game and then taking on ultimately the full boss towers, but I would strongly recommend bringing good armor and weapons as a strong armor of mirrors as well. You really do want to look at catching these, as these are going to be imperative as you look to take on the boss towers towards the real endgame of Miraibo Go. Catching and defeating these bosses gives a really nice amount of XP also, so if you are looking to level up fast in the mid game after catching those first mirrors, this would be a really good go-to method. With regards to the building in Miraibo Go, long-time viewers of this channel will know that my building skills in Ark have never been one of my strong suits, but as with Palworld earlier this year, I enjoyed the simplicity of bases here. While I'm sure established builders of the survival genre will be able to build something special, I was more than happy to just put my little shack down and go from there. One feature that I did love in Palworld, and I also love here, is the ability for your pets to help out with tasks around base. It saves so much time, and with each mirror specialising in different things, it really does add different use cases for each mirror. If I was to offer some constructive feedback to the developers, I would probably say performance and graphical quality could be enhanced slightly. For the purpose of this review, to give you guys what I thought would be a fair reflection on the game, I played this not only on PC via BlueStacks, but I also went out personally to buy myself a Samsung tablet. BlueStacks ran it fine despite being capped at 30 FPS, but upon putting my settings up on the tablet, I did have a little bit of stuttering in places. It's probably important to stress though that I was playing on an earlier build of the game, and I hope that Dreamcube will be able to continue to improve performance like this over time. I'd also like to think that they will add a single player game mode that doesn't require you to be connected to the internet. A couple of times when travelling and playing Miraibo Go on the tablet, I lost signal and had to reload. Thankfully this didn't happen in any of my tower bosses, but nevertheless I think that people would appreciate the ability to play in the safety of their own world without the risk of disconnecting. There were also a couple of interesting bugs that I encountered during my time on Miraibo Go, with the first being the invisible warg pup here, who when actually visible is one of my favourite early game mirrors to catch, and then this Spartan who sadly for me just stayed at 100% caught, floating in the air. Sadly I never did actually get to use this thing, as upon relogging it had just completely disappeared. However, as mentioned, I was playing an early access game, so I really do hope that bugs like this have been ironed out by the time of the full release, which brings me to today. Miraibo Go is now out and free to play on all mobile devices as well as PC. Make sure to use my link in the description to download the game, as by doing so you'll be helping to support the channel. Overall, my time on Miraibo Go was a pretty great adventure. People may be quick to label this as a cheap and easy Palworld mobile knockoff, but I really do not think that does justice to Miraibo Go. It's been in development since before the release of Palworld and does a lot of great things, especially considering it is mainly targeting the mobile market. I've never been a huge one for mobile gaming, preferring to generally play games at my desk. However, the ability to play Miraibo Go wherever you are and hop into an online multiplayer ever-changing world with friends is fantastic. If you are a fan of the open world survival style game, I would certainly recommend giving Miraibo Go a try. You can download it by using my link in the description, and I hope you guys have as great a time on the game as I did. Thanks for listening guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.